That's going on, Broncos country. Welcome to another edition of the Bourbon Broncos NO B.S. Postgame Podcast. My name's Kevin, and I got John here with me today. We are going to talk about everything that happened during the Broncos' 26-20 loss out there in Seattle in Week 1. Week 1, guys. Calm down. Okay, we'll talk about Bo Nix. We'll talk about everything else that went on. And we'll talk, man, we're going to talk a lot about defense and lots of good things there, too. So, it's going to be a fun time. John, how you doing, man?
Doing good, buddy. I miss this time that we have together. I miss spending Monday evenings with you, Kev. Damn. It's been too long. It's been too long, my friend. I wish it was under different circumstances, but hey, what can you do? It is what it is, you know? I still
say bad football is better than no football.
Hey, amen, brother. Amen.
You know, even in the middle of the game, I'm like, you know what? At least we're watching the Broncos play. I can't be too unhappy.
Hey, in the middle of the game is still a good for us. I mean, we'll get to it, but I was stoked at the middle of the game.
Oh, yes. If you go back to the halftime hash, so was I. Okay, guys, we're going to get down into this here in just a second and start with kind of rewinding a little bit to what our thoughts were before the game. Before we do, remember, we have our main show on Tuesday nights, Bourbon Broncos No B.S., 7 p.m. Mountain Time every Tuesday night. We also got a pregame podcast, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. We also got the pregame show about 1 hour before kickoff. We got a halftime hash show live during every halftime every Broncos game. We got a bunch of stuff, guys, and then content going out pretty much every day on social media. So look, we're trying to bring you as best Broncos content as we can. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go follow us and give us some thumbs up, some likes. That helps us out a ton as well. So, John, it's time to rewind. Blue, 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 blue. I can't do the noise, but it's 2 p.m. Game's about to start. What is going through your head, man?
Hey, man, like we talked about in the tailgate, I had a lot more optimism than I thought I would after, the way the season ended, letting Russ go, the salary cap issues that we were coming into. And so, I mean, like tailgate, with everything we'd heard in the preseason training camp, I had a lot more optimism, like I said, than I thought I would. And I was excited. to see Bo Nix get out there and sling the ball. And, seeing Javonte, is he back, to his former self? I had high hopes. How about you, Kev?
No, I think I was there too. And the big piece for me was really looking at how much of a trap game this was for Seattle. Right. Again, it goes back to looking at what all the pundits were saying out here in Colorado. A lot of the Broncos people were obviously saying like, there's a path to victory here, but the cards are stacked against us, right? Understandable. The biggest thing was, how is the brand new coaching staff of Seattle going to hold up? I think that was the biggest question mark overall. And we were talking about that a lot. But out there in Seattle, a lot of conversation was, Broncos have no pass rush. Yeah, how did that go for them? Right. Broncos have no intensity on defense. They can't stop the run. And we did and then didn't and then kind of did again. But, so I think the defense especially was a huge shock to Seattle. But because of all of that, I was going into this with the same optimism of there is a clear path to victory. But I said the biggest thing is, if we're talking primarily about Bo Nix at the end of the game, it's probably because we lost,
You did say that. You called it.
Yeah. I mean, the main path to victory for the Broncos was to have the support system around him so that we did not have to rely on him to win us the game. And what happened? That.
We got basically the opposite of that, buddy.
So we will dive into that real quickly, but let's just start. Let's just go right into the first quarter, man. Initial drive. Defense comes flying off the end there. We start with a sack on the very first play of the season, followed by an interception on the very second play of the season. If this isn't like, me jumping out of my chair, screaming at the TV for good reasons, I mean, it was crazy, dude.
You couldn't have asked for a better start. Jonathan Cooper coming around the edge, just immediately sacking the quarterback. Did not see that didn't have that on my things that I thought how the game would start. First of all, we start off by kicking the ball, which I always love coming out, having the option or the possibility to come out after halftime and get the ball back. So that was a good start there. And then right away we got the ball back, and it just felt like, we got to start both halves on offense. It was amazing. The second play, which was the interception, was caused by the pass rush. I mean, I don't know if his arm was hit or if the ball was tipped, but
he was about to get one or the other.
Alex Singleton, I mean, there was no Seattle player, so it clearly was not an actual pass attempt from Gino, or not where he was trying to throw the ball. And yeah, look, best start we could have asked for as Broncos fans, and set our team up to be already in scoring position on the third play of the game.
Yeah, well, we got the ball on the 30 after 2 offensive plays from Seattle. That initially, you're trying to make a statement. And one of the big things that we heard during the offseason, at least over the last couple of weeks, was Sean Payton talking about the importance of starting fast, right? Yep. Not starting off in the hole, not digging yourselves a hole. Defense got that message. Yep. I think, man, when we're done talking about this game and, you're thinking about the other teams that are going to be breaking down this tape, they're going to look at Denver's defense very seriously for the rest of the season.
Yeah, what I love about that, Kev, last year when we started the season, what were we asking for? There was no pass rush generation coming from Vance Joseph's defense, to the point where pretty early on we were wondering what the heck was going on with this defense. Are we gonna start putting pressure on the quarterback? Or are we just gonna rely on the secondary to make plays? But it's the opposite start basically to this season, which is, I love to see it. Love to see the pass rush. There's a big question mark, like you mentioned, coming into this thing, and it got answered very quickly. Jonathan Cooper, 8.5 sacks last year, already has 2 this year. It's great. I mean, I'm excited for him. Need the other guys to start stepping up too. But the defensive line especially looked solid from the very beginning of this game.
For sure. And that, again, statement made by the defense, and it was great to see. For those who are listening after this has been recorded on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you're listening at, we do have some live comments here. We do this live Monday night, so if you're ever around, you want to hop in live and get some comments in, you're more than welcome to do that. We do that live on YouTube. Jerry's in here, glad to see you. Joey, good points here. We'll talk about a lot of positives as well. Jerry says, hope it was a learning experience. We'll touch on that. And Ziggy, some of the problem with some of the fans is they want Bo Nix to be John Elway. Give the kid a chance. Yes, for sure. And we're going to break that down a little bit, because really what we saw here, John, was after we got that interception, 3 and out. Okay. It is what it is.
Okay, but we carried that optimism into the first offensive drive, and the first play was a 9-yard rush from Javonte.
Yeah, and it was there's Javonte.
But it was okay, maybe again we're gonna power the ball. We're gonna hopefully get a score on this play. Get a touchdown ideally where we started, but it looked good initially, and then it kind of took a turn pretty quickly there in that first drive, and we end up going 3 and out, kicking the field goal. But we take the lead, right? Even though it wasn't the best first offensive series, you and I were pretty stoked to be up 3-0 when Seattle started with the ball, and we were 3 minutes into the game. We up 3-0, knowing that we also get the ball in the second half. We could just keep this up, and look, the defense again responded after that field goal.
We put ourselves in the best position after that first, defensive and offensive drive that we possibly really ideally could have. I mean, without getting the touchdown itself, right. It is what it is. From here, John, we see a lot of just week 1 football. Okay. It was ugly from both defenses. Now, here's my synopsis of it, and I want you to tell me if I'm wrong. Okay. The Seattle offense was not producing because of primarily the Broncos defense. The Broncos offense was not producing primarily because we were shooting ourselves in the foot, more than it being caused externally from the Seahawks defense.
Initially, I would agree with you there. We had a very clear game plan, I thought, and did not see enough adjustments from that game plan. But yeah, early on, it looked like, yeah, I agree with you. We were shooting ourselves in the foot to make drop passes. A couple of penalties, they weren't killers, but they were enough to set us back and put us in those third and long situations. It also felt like every time we had like I don't know, it'd be first down, we get 3 yards, and then second down, we'd lose like 2 yards. So we were getting these third and longs every time when every second down play, I swear, went for negative yards. And It's just hard I think every mistake we've made that Bo made, it felt like, was those third and longs where he was trying to do too much. We'll get to it, when we finally have a drive started here in a second. But it just felt like we were putting ourselves in a bad position for that third down play. And Sean Payton talked a lot about that last year, and not how you win football games when you have 6 out of the first 7 drives were 3 and outs, and that was just a common theme for the game, unfortunately, from offense.
It was.
So
we had 8 punts. We punted 8 times in that game. Yep. Riley Dixon got a workout. He's probably a little sore today. I don't know.
Yeah, put him on the short list for Pro Bowl this year as a punter.
For sure. Well, some of his punts were great. We got down there. The 2 safeties we got were started from special teams, and how good the punts were. Right.
One of them wasn't the special teams. One of them was an interception.
Oh, one of them was. That's right. That's right. You're right.
But no, one of them was for sure, because that the special teams unit they were on point yesterday. Return team wasn't spectacular, but it wasn't bad either. So we'll take that. But yeah, the punting team was the coverage team was very, very effective. Right. I have a lot of Iowa friends that are just, their punter was the player of the team last year, basically. And if we could just not become that would be ideal for me, where we're getting excited every time we're punting the ball. I'd be happy with that.
I feel you. Let's talk less about Riley Dixon.
If we can not highlight the punter every week, I'd be very okay with that.
But yeah, I don't know if there's really much else to cover in these next couple drives. I mean, after our field goal, it was 3 plays and punt, 3 plays punt, 4 plays punt, 3 plays punt. And then finally Seattle was able to move 46 yards in 7 plays to get themselves a field goal. And I think this is maybe, we got the safeties there. So I think we kept the momentum at bay. After that field goal, I was worried that was really going to kind of maybe start shifting the tide. Seahawks were going to say, okay, we figured these guys out. They kind of shocked us, but here we go. And thankfully the defense, again, just came to play, man. Defense was there, and so that was the next thing that really happened was the safety.
I mean, the best part I can say for the defense, well, not the best part, but, us going 3 and out, luckily the defense was able to force 3 and outs for them as well. They weren't having these long sustained drives up until that field goal drive. So at least they weren't getting tired, because they were getting themselves off the field just as much as we were putting them back on the field. And that field goal drive was only 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So, and 7 plays. So it felt like the defense at least stayed, they didn't wear themselves out, luckily. Otherwise this game could have gotten out of hand. And thankfully after this field goal, we had a long drive of our own. The outcome just wasn't ideal, I would say.
Right.
To your point, I did have a feeling that this was going to be the turning point of the game, and it wasn't.
So what we're looking at, score 5-3. Broncos then get their own field goal 8-3. And again, I'm like,
are you blowing past the interception drive?
No, that's right, interception drive. Thank you.
I mean, this was our most effective drive of the game, Kevin, to this point. And you just want to blow right past it because of the outcome.
I just want to miss it. Oh yeah, this was Reynolds' first really good catch. He had a couple really solid ones. That second one especially, but geez.
3.5. Yeah, that was the best throw and catch probably of the first half. And set us up, put us in scoring position. But yeah, this drive, this is where I kind of felt like we were starting to catch our stride, because up until this point it was absolutely nothing. But we just kept getting this first down after first down. We had that weird 3-yard run by Nix where the ref was like right there and called it short of the first down. It was like the most blatant and obvious first down I'd ever seen. I don't know how you get a spot that bad, honestly, especially when like you watch her right there and she
right there.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Obviously, easy challenge from Sean Payton, and then we kept going, and then it gets stalled out again, and it brings me to my previous point. We had a first and 10, we get 3 yards, 2nd and 7, negative 2-yard rush, and then all of a sudden it's 3rd and 9 from the 21-yard line. So it's like, okay, well, it's 3rd and long again. Hopefully, like worst case scenario, we're getting a field goal here. And it just felt like Bo Nix was just trying to do too much on that interception play. He throws it to Cortland Sutton, which if you have to pick someone to throw it to, obviously you're going to Sutton. But just a poor decision, double coverage. Cortland had no possible way to get that ball. Felt like it was underthrown for where Cortland was. If he had thrown it deeper, maybe he has a chance at it. But he couldn't even play defense on that throw. And they get it, back at the 1-yard line. I don't know what was your takeaway from that drive?
Look, again, we're finally moving in. And what I had thought, again, going back to my expectation or prediction, was that the first quarter was going to be rough. And that after a couple drives, I assumed we would have some sort of run game going, right? That protection was going to be holding up, and that we were going to be able to start putting together some solid drives, not relying on Bo Nix to have to throw on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
Getting him just some short 4 or 5 yard passes should be enough to keep the chains moving, in addition with the run game. But this is where you started to see that run game just really wasn't developing. And this is where you started to see Bo Nix have to take the brunt of the workload.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is we were doing those short passes all day long. That was our game plan, it seems like. And that play specifically was a negative 2-yard pass, like too many behind the line of scrimmage passes that were like, we're setting up the wide receiver screen, which God, last year we talked way too much about the bubble screen. Well, it's running those bubble screens. Putting the wide receiver in bad position to get any yardage. It was frustrating. If you're going to do a short pass, at least have it like be a 2-yard, 3-yard up and in. But no, we just keep doing it behind the line of scrimmage. And at this point in the game, the Seahawks had that figured out. Right? They had that figured out. Every time we caught the ball, they had a defender in our face making a tackle. It was very hard for our offensive players to get any yards after the catch because they had someone tackling them right away. Yeah. So it's just frustrating. And so it got us in these bad situations where, look, rookie quarterback going to make rookie mistakes. And we saw it on this track very, very quickly.
Yeah. No, you're noticing that the speed of the game is finally catching up to Bo. Preseason's one thing.
Right.
And said all along, super happy with how he performed in preseason. I'm not taking that away from him at all. Right. But then when you get into the big boy league of all the starters are starting and they're coming to get you because this game matters and you're on the road and they're wearing their throwback unis. So there's like, they're trying. They don't
that
want
was
to lose.
That was the difference maker.
I think that was it. That
not the home field advantage.
No. But yeah, man, I think this is where you started to see the cracks, and just Bo Nix having to try to keep up with no support around him. And this is where you're just like, where's the run game? This is where you start looking at stuff, man. By this point, hadn't heard Dulcich's name at all. Who else? Audric Estime. I think he might have had that one run by then. Maybe not even one yet.
Who, Estime?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had that 13-yard run that was the fumble that he had. Luckily went right back to Adam Troutman. But
yeah.
That guy like swat. That's the hardest swat I think I've ever seen.
It was a great defensive play. Cannot fault. Estime was doing what he was supposed to do.
That other guy just so lands that ball straight out of it. Like, I couldn't even fault him for that. I've never seen him play like that before. Thankfully, it went straight to Troutman. But
well, I'm surprised he didn't get more touches. He only got the 2.
Yeah, he got the 2.
He had a big time run, and then basically we gave more touches to McLaughlin than to Williams.
Yeah, we did. That is true. Yeah, 14 yards for SMA off 2 carries, and one of those is for 12 yards. I'm wondering moving forward if he starts to get more touches. It's week 1, so we'll see. Yeah. But why not give it to him? I mean, he's of the 3, he seems the one that is just. It feels like he's the one that wants it the most. Very early statement from me there, but Javonte looks like Javonte, and it started out good, like we talked about, but not enough of his rookie season so far. Again, week 1, we'll see it moving forward.
Right.
But yeah, no, to your point, yeah, Dulcich never really got in the game at this point. It was clear it was Reynolds as our number 2 wide receiver. Sutton, was getting thrown to, but could not get it on target to him. He had 12 targets for the game and only 4 catches, which is unlike him. They just weren't in the area for him. So no. I was definitely surprised when we look at the offense and the snap count for each player. We were running a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. I thought we were going to see a lot more 2 tight end, maybe some more fullback plays. And it just felt like what you and I were expecting us to try and establish the run early on. We weren't putting ourselves in position to do that at all. That clearly was not the game plan, which is odd to me when you have a rookie quarterback who's just trying to get through his first game, basically.
Right. Well, and I think I have to go back and look at the actual plays, but looking at the snap count here, Dulcich was actually out there for 67% of the plays, and it was only thrown to twice.
Yeah.
Troutman was out there for 35%. He didn't get thrown to once. I mean, he did have that fumble recovery, so thank God. But yeah, it's like, why, with the exception of Garrett Bowles going down, which the latest we heard is the MRIs came back negative, which is a good thing. No words on if he's going to play this Sunday or not. I'm going to expect no, because I'd rather, with an ankle injury, maybe give it time to heal. But I guess it depends on how bad it is.
The initial reports from Sean Payton were like, he's fine, basically. Right. It's an ankle bruise, so I don't know.
It depends on how bruised it is.
Sure, yeah. I mean, of course, there's a possibility there. But yeah, coming against the Steelers, we want him out there for sure with that pass rush. So that could be
a little off topic there. But the point is, with the exception of Garrett Bowles going down, it's kind of head scratching as to why we couldn't get the run game going. They knew going into this, that was their job to help out Bo Nix, and it did not materialize in any way, shape, or form. And that's where this game from this point on starts getting ugly for the Broncos.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, pass rush was average at best, probably a little below average because Nick seemed to have to do way too much with his legs, get out of trouble way too often. And then the run game, it was non-existent. I think our running backs averaged, 2.5 yards a carry-ish, close to 3 maybe. Leading rusher was Bo Nix. That's not great when he's not he's not Jaden Daniels out there. He's not Justin Fields.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be running when he's getting out of trouble, not being a leading rusher for the team.
Yep. You take his numbers away, you got about 65 yards rushing for the team. Probably close to, you're right, about 3, maybe between 3 and 3.5 yards rushing per carry. Versus Kenneth Walker alone had more rushing yards in 5 less carries than the entire Broncos offense, with 103 yards. They totaled 146. Again, Geno Smith's, 30 yards out. Okay, they're averaging maybe 4 yards a carry. So still, you're talking about last year, our deal with, averaging about 5 yards per carry, even with that Miami game. We're not looking any better here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for that, it was a tale of two halves.
For sure.
First half wasn't anything great. I mean, Kenneth Walker was not going off at all in the first half. It didn't seem like.
No.
Maybe on that touchdown drive that they had. But oh my gosh, the switch, the difference between the first half and the second half was night and day for our defense. And that was probably the most concerning part of the game, aside from just the inability to do anything on offense. But yeah, I don't know. You want to finish up the first half of you want to talk about any safeties? Anything?
Let's see. When was that other safety? So after Bo Nix's interception, get down the 1 yard line.
Which was a holding penalty. The holding penalty for safety is always feels a little bit cheap. But look, I mean, the defensive player still has to do something to make the offensive player feel the need to hold them. So gotta still get some credit there. And then we get our our quick -2 yard field goal off of a fumbled punt return, -2 yard drive to set the field goal. And then that touchdown drive. That's right. That Geno Smith 35 yard run.
Touchdown run. Yep.
It just felt
that was killer.
Well, it just felt like our defense just totally lost it on that drive. It seems to happen with Vance Joseph's defenses sometimes, where we're just doing great. We're forcing 3 and outs. We're doing amazing. Then every once in a while, there's that one drive that's just like, what? Where was that? Like, where'd this come from? What happened to the defense we've been having the whole rest of the game, which is what that felt like there.
I mean, I mostly attributed to they're just getting tired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe it's that. I mean, it was a quick drive though. It was only 5 plays.
Still, I don't know what else.
Yeah,
it was well, because you look at this, because then it goes from that touchdown, then they get a field goal, then they get. Meanwhile, we're punting and fumbling. They get another touchdown. So before you know it, it's so what? By the end of the second quarter, we went into halftime up 13-9. Okay. And we had just seen that pretty decent offensive drive. We're like, okay, maybe we can get something going. And then look, in no time, we go from 13-9 to 13-26.
I was
a couple touchdowns and a field goal.
Yeah. I was stoked at halftime to be up 13-9. With the way our offense played, it's like, we should not be in this position, obviously, right? David said it in our chat, like the dumbest way to get 10 points.
Stupid.
When it was 10-9, 2 safeties, two like negative yard drive plays to get field goals, like something like or close to that, anyways.
Basically.
So to be up by 4 points, it felt like we're gonna figure this out and we're gonna have a real serious opportunity here to win this game when no one gave us a chance. And then whatever halftime speech was given to our team, I don't know what it was. I don't know what adjustments we were trying to make, but they did not settle in at all. We came out and we looked lame as you could look. -8 yards on 3 plays, 3 and out, and -8 yards. That's impressive. Really impressive to have another delay of game. On 3rd and 14. It was rough. I can't remember. How did Jaleel McLaughlin get -4 yards? Was that one of the end around plays?
I think so.
Something like that. And then incomplete pass. It's just like the worst. Like last year, we did really good coming out, first half, second half with good scripted drives.
I remember that now.
Touchdowns, something we hadn't seen in a while until last year.
Yeah.
And this game was the opposite. So that was frustrating. And then whatever the Seahawks coaching staff said at halftime really resonated. And they made the adjustments I was hoping the Broncos were going to make.
Oh, I think, they also had Marshawn Lynch on their sideline, maybe giving them some thoughts and opinions. I'm just saying we didn't have any superstar previous players on our sideline helping out our coach. Just saying.
That was
cool. It was so funny. He just comes up and it was a perfect camera timing too. He's like, just starts giving him a massage. It's like, it's okay. You're in the NFL now. Enjoy it. It was a cool moment.
I didn't even realize what was going on. I was like, "Who's this person?"
It took me a second. I was like, "Who is that?"
Random person giving the coach massage, and they're like talking. I was like, "That's Marshawn." It was like middle of the game. It's not like this was like a commercial break or anything like this.
No.
It was like the guy's actively coaching, and Marshawn's there trying to have a conversation with the dudes. Like,
well, you know how some coaches, I think it's like McVay is one of them, that at least used to have the guy that would like pull him back onto the field. If I was a head coach, I don't need that. I need someone to just come up and giving me a massage in the middle of the game. Okay, don't worry about keeping me on the field. Just help me relax. Get my blood pressure a little lower. Yeah.
I think you're just trying to get someone to give you a massage, Kev. I get it.
I've asked you like 10 times and you keep saying no.
I know. And I say no every time. But, keep asking. We'll see.
I'm just going to start bribing you.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to ask.
Let's see. Really quickly, catching up some comments here. Ziggy, yeah, butterflies are real in any sport, especially on the road. We haven't really touched on too much of that yet.
We'll get to that.
But I think being on the road was just tough. Keith, it feels like you guys barely got a touch on offense. They just fell down. Yeah, I mean, especially when you're talking about us running the ball, it just was not there. Defense was worn out at the end. Victor, how you doing, man? Here's a question from let's take a quick break here on the breakdown of the game. Especially at this point, but definitely at the end of the game. Do you feel that we were out coached?
I mean, I had the feeling after halftime, the way they came out, like scoring drive after scoring drive after scoring drive, 3 in a row, and we didn't have any adjustments made on offense. It felt like, I kind of felt like we were a little out coached there from a guy that hasn't been. This is his first NFL game as a head coach. I mean, I was a little surprised. I think coming into it, that makes it a little bit tricky for Sean Payton to game plan a little bit. You're not sure what to expect. Doesn't make it okay though. And then, it's, to me, the biggest feeling of being out coached was after halftime. It was. I will say this. I think week 1 is probably, if I had to guess, aside from playoffs, like week 1's probably the hardest preparation to do, because you don't know what new schemes people are implementing. You don't know you don't have any tape really to go off except for previous tape, which in this situation you have to go to college players, which I mean that's not, I don't know,
totally different environment,
right? So my hope moving forward is that now that we have some game tape to go off of, if Russ is playing next week, which this is a little off topic, but obviously we know what he's all about. So at least we have something to game plan for this week, which maybe they didn't have that same luxury coming in this week. Now you also have the whole off season once the schedule comes out to get ready for week 1. So, you're
right. When it's a brand new head coach, especially, it's extra tough. We could watch game tape from the Chiefs for any point in the last 7 years, basically.
Right.
And be able to build a game plan off of that, right? If we were playing them week 1, would not be a problem. We would know essentially what Andy Reid and company were going to do. When it's a brand new head coach and a brand new to the NFL defensive coordinator offensive coordinator as well. Yeah, it's tough, You
would hope their inexperience would, give us the advantage, but clearly it didn't. Well, it to an extent it did in the first half, but then they figured it out at halftime. So again, back to the original question, did we get out coached? I think you kind of have to say yeah.
One was able to make adjustments. Look, they didn't have a run game going in the first half either. Right. They were able to figure it out.
We're shutting it down. Kenneth Walker then went off. He looked like a beast the second half. He looked like what they were saying all off season, that he's going to be the workhorse back for them, and he's going to, be getting these big, long drive sustaining runs, and we saw that a lot in the second half.
Yeah. Wagner, how you doing? Says we need to send Bo to the line with 2 plays, help him identify in order to audible. I think part of that is we don't want to overwhelm him, right? And if you've ever heard a clip of Sean Payton reading out one of his plays,
right?
Have you seen that from the Saints?
Yeah.
That's like a 10-second long play call, and that's one play call.
Right.
Let's give him some time. I think he'll get there, right? Like, hey, here's the first call, here's the second call. You make the decision when you're out there. I think, that maybe, could have been better, but for a first time rookie out there, I don't know.
I mean, that's why we moved on from Russ, right? Is because he couldn't handle the playbook, and it was limiting what we could do on offense. So,
right.
Bo Nix is going to have a little bit more leeway or a little longer leash because he is a rookie. It's his first NFL game, so we expect improvement from him as the season progresses. But we need to have a quarterback that has the intelligence and the ability to make those plays in this Sean Payton offense. Like, he needs someone that can do that.
Right. Again, give him time.
Which, by the way, he thinks he does have that person. Like, he feels very confident that Bo Nix will be that person.
Well, what I'm seeing,
he didn't have that with Russ. You never felt that way.
From my point of view, is Bo Nix in the basement right now is just as good, if not a tiny bit better, than Russell Wilson at his best.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I feel that way quite yet.
Okay.
The optimism is there, right?
The ceiling for Bo Nix is way higher.
Well, yeah, I mean, it has to be. You're talking about a guy at the end of his career versus a rookie.
And he is at the end of his career.
But still.
For sure.
Yeah, you are right.
Keith, really quickly, we'll talk more about Russ tomorrow on Bourbon Broncos No BS. I will say that as long as he doesn't do any high knees on the airplane, he shouldn't upset his calf and, should play. But that is a little teaser for tomorrow's show. Back to this game as we wrap this up, man. Look, it kind of gets to the point again where it's 13-26. Again, we could just go on and on about the Broncos offense, just punting. Thankfully, though, more of the same. The defense kind of makes a stop. Once Seattle gets to 26, they say, we're not going to let you score anymore, and gave our offense a chance, and Bo Nix did, in a sense, give us a chance to win this game.
Yeah, up until that point, though, it was, and Sean Payton hit on it a lot in the post-game interview, just talking about how it wasn't all Bo Nix. And, we've talked about it at length. The running game wasn't there, receivers dropping passes. You had a key fumble there that we just totally glossed over from McLaughlin. And that was at a point in the game where we were kind of down a little bit. And then that fumble, and it was like, well, you've really put our defense in a bad position. The whole offense just did not click at all yesterday. It wasn't one guy. It was a whole unit as a whole in that offensive struggle for the whole game. That's putting it very simply. They get a couple 3 in a row scoring plays, I should say, and then the second interception by Bo was very similar to the first, where it's like, it's bad.
There were 3 people there. There were 3
defenders. It's like, bad.
The worst part, and I have never seen this. Out of all the football games I've ever watched, I have never heard an announcer say, "Oh no!" the moment the ball left the quarterback's hands, and you didn't even see who he was throwing to yet. No. I just heard, "Oh no." And then you saw the players come into screen, and you just saw blue. And you're like, "Oh no."
As soon as the announcer goes, "Oh no," and he's talking about something that's off the screen. It's like, what is coming? And then you want to talk about rookie mistakes? That's it, right? Like forcing too much, trying to do too much. I don't know what the read was there, but was he going to Sutton? Who was that?
I think he was going to Sutton on that one. Sutton and the 3 other Seahawks defenders that were there.
That's the other thing. It felt like Seattle was just like blanketing Cortland. Maybe I'm overthinking that, but it never seemed like he had an open opportunity. And maybe it goes to what we were talking about before the game. Like, we have the clear number 1 guy. I don't know who the number 2 is. I have a feeling now who it is, but before the game I didn't know, and I don't know if the Seahawks did either.
So what's the message to the rest of the league? Cover Sutton and you're good.
I mean, it seemed to work in this game.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of drop passes.
For sure.
Too many drop passes, I should say. It was too many. frankly.
It was.
But look, yeah, our defense, they finally, a negative 9-yard, three and out play, which leads to our one successful drive out of 15. One. I'll give it one for the game. That touchdown drive was just, it almost felt like in last year with Russ, just where nothing's happening the whole game. And then we score because he's doing he is just trying to do everything. Bo is like running every play, seemed like it's breaking down. He had probably close to 35 rushing yards on that drive, it felt like. And we're down by 2 scores. It's just like too little, too late. Good drive. Not to take anything away from the drive, it was a good drive, but and Bo takes. I mean, that was a pretty nice spin move to get into the end zone. Which you're right, it put us in a position where if the defense gets a stop, we have a potential for a 2-minute drive to actually win this game, which seems absurd the way we've been talking about it and from what we were watching. But we could have been in it.
Well, you think about it this way. If one of those 2 field goals where we got the ball at like the 20, 30-yard line, that had been a touchdown instead of field goal. Score would have been 26-24. In that last drive, all we would have needed was a field goal, and we were in field goal range. Right. So, again, defense put us in the best position possible to win. Yeah. I think the offense just could not get it going. And Bo Nix was in an incredibly hostile environment against a very motivated team. And it's exactly what I expected to happen. If you had told me that we're going to put the game purely on Bo's shoulders because nothing around him is working, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah. I would say, here's $500. I'm picking the Seahawks. Duh, that's a bet I would have been, happy to make. So I don't know, man. Look, I'll get, your thoughts here. Just in terms of some takeaways for me, the big thing is protection and that front line. Whether it's run blocking or pass blocking, you got to figure something out, get better there. Because I think that's the key to unlocking the rest of it. So
I don't know.
My biggest thing is figure that out.
It feels like we say this every year where the first game or so, offensive line, we're just what is going on? This is supposed to be one of our strong suits. And then by the end of the season, we're like, oh, actually, that was above average offensive line. It's I never see it early on in the season. It feels like. So again, maybe it's growing pains. Obviously, it's growing pains for Bo Nix, that's for sure. But yeah, the other thing, who's our number 2 receiver? Have you figured it out?
Have they figured it out?
I don't know. Look, Reynolds was getting the ball thrown to him quite a bit. Josh Reynolds, he was out on there 80% of the time. So if you look at it, obviously he was the number 2, but Vele had a couple of, he was out there only 50% of the time, and he had the most catches, right? He had 87, only 39.
He broke that one. He broke that one tackle,
right? Yeah,
to get 9 yards, put us second and short,
which was one of those plays. Again, that was like a negative 1-yard pass, and then he breaks one tackle and goes 9 yards. The problem is that was our whole game plan, and we tried to do that too much, but we talked about that enough. So it looks like they want to give Bailey the ball. Mims, basically a non-factor as a receiver in this game. And then
I don't think he was even targeted.
What's that?
I don't think he was even targeted.
Yeah, supposedly he was targeted once. Same with Humphrey. He was targeted once. He had that big drop, which, it was a drive-ending drop. It was 3rd down, and that would have been an easy first down. I think it was ahead of the first down marker. So the frustrating part is that this group was supposed to be good enough that we felt okay, getting rid of Tim Patrick, and it's where were they? Where were they yesterday? I don't know.
Well, it's if we're evaluating this young talent as a means of moving the team forward. It's one game out of a very long season, but it was not there yesterday. And if we're talking about yesterday, it was not there yesterday.
Yeah. But on the other side of the ball, Surtain still seems to be Surtain. Metcalf only with 29 yards. Yeah, there was a few times where he beat him, but I'll take 29 yards from DK Metcalf any day. It was Riley Moss on the other side also looked good, especially in the first half. They started figuring it out. I mean, he had the most tackles on the team, which just shows you how much they were targeting away from Surtain. I thought he did an okay job. Like as a number 2 cornerback, based on what the defense was being asked to do, because we couldn't get anything on offense going, I thought he did fine. Lockett had the 77 yards, so he was their leading receiver, but the play for them, honestly, may have been that first down catch where it just one-handed.
Yeah.
Those gloves need to be inspected. I mean, that was ridiculous. Like, come on.
Pine tar on there? Did you go over to the Mariner Stadium and borrow some pine tar? Hey, guys, hook me up.
But no, I thought we did good against their receivers, which was a concern of mine, honestly, aside from Surtain, but and whoever he was going up against. But I thought we did well from our defensive back perspective.
Yeah.
Second half, man, it was just. Did we get much? I don't remember much pressure in the second half from our defense. Is the other problem?
No, because they were just relying on the run game.
Yeah,
right?
And the run stopping.
And so I think. I remember the announcers talking about at one point, Vance Joseph did kind of have that decision. Did he want to leave that second safety up high, which was leaving somebody out of the box, knowing that they had a run game going? Or do you bring that guy down, potentially, exposing a big part of the field? And so I think that's what it was. Just once you have that run game going, it opens up the pass game, and then we just could not figure out that pattern to stop them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, look, man. Lots of good, lots of bad.
Lots of good on one side of the ball.
Yeah, but just lots of good. We're just gonna just group it in as lots of good. Okay.
Oh, there's 3 parts of the game. Lots of good on 2 out of the 3 parts.
2. Hey, you know what? I'll take that for week 1 in a rebuild year. I'll take that.
Yeah, and
look,
here's
guys.
The thing. We talked about it early on. I didn't have expectations after the draft, after everything, and then the way they talked up this team preseason and training camp, I feel a little
gotta
duped
sell those
week
tickets,
1.
man.
Feel a little duped week 1, but it's all right. Yeah. It brought my expectations back down a little bit, but that's okay. It's a long season. You said it before. You said it in the tailgate. Look, win or lose, no matter how we look, it's only week 1. You can't. Totally killed my kid. No,
we go 2-15.
We are not going 2-15. Absolutely.
This is not a 2-win team. This was a week 1 in the second hardest place to play.
I need at least
a rebuild year with a rookie QB. Here's the thing. Yeah, we're playing the Steelers. Steelers are, well-run team. They're well-respected. But I think going from playing in Seattle to playing in front of your home crowd.
Yeah.
I think that's going to help us out quite a bit. And be like, oh, this isn't, I can actually hear myself think. Okay.
Yeah. It is totally different. And I kind of overlooked that as well going into, especially Seattle, one of the best home team, they have the 12th man, all that stuff. It's a hard environment, especially your first game in the NFL, if you're Bo Nix, that's what you have to deal with. Can't hear anything. So, yeah, it's going to be a different experience. I am worried about the pass rush from the Steelers a little bit. But it'll be a good test to see if he's capable of bouncing back.
Yep. I like it, man.
Yeah. Hey, just remember this. This guy right here, Elway, 1-8, had to be benched in his first game. All right. Aikman, he had issues. I mean, Roethlisberger, talking about the Steelers, he had issues his first game in the NFL. So it's not the end of the world. The sky is not falling. Yes, it looked bad. And hey, if that's our rock bottom for the year, I will take that any day. We can only go up. We didn't, at least on offense.
We didn't get 70 points scored against us. So.
There is that. I'm sorry.
Now we are playing in Florida in September still. So
okay, let's not look too far ahead. Let's not look
too far ahead. Too far ahead. Clayton, glad to see you here, man. Only one game. Wagner.
We do not play what?
What?
We don't play Miami.
No, Buccaneers.
Oh, okay.
It's still Florida in September. It's not Miami, but it's still Florida in September. So
Tampa Bay put 70 on us.
They're not going to put 70 on us. No, Baker Mayfield's not going to do that. Anyway, Wagner, glad you popped in. I do appreciate the comments. Make sure you're here tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We are much, much more interactive in the comments on the Tuesday night show. That is exactly what the show is designed for, is interacting with all the viewer comments. So make sure you guys tune in for that. John, again, thank you so much. Let's do some closing thoughts here. And again, just look, not the kind of outcome I want to be talking about, but this lines up with realistically taking off my orange and blue goggles. This is what I would have expected from this game.
Yeah, and look, just mentioned it. First game in the NFL, rookie quarterbacks do not have the best track record. Even, of Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, like these guys that are supposed to be, rookie of the year, and now I'll throw a Bo Nix in there as well. None of them look great. Caleb Williams, their team won, but you think he had 92 yards passing. They struggle. Even go back to last year, CJ Stroud was a revelation. That team in general was a revelation, and he was not impressive early on in the season. It wasn't, I think,
against this defense.
So,
well, not this defense, but the head coach Mike McDonald and his defense. So it's still,
yeah. So it can change. There's time. It's a long season. Now look, I'm not saying we're going to be the Texans of last year and we're going to figure it out the last 2/3 of the season, but because that was a once, that never happens.
Sean Payton does historically start bad at the start of the season. September is not good for Sean
Payton. I really think he
needs
tape before to game plan. I think that's the issue. That's what I'm going with after this game. Yeah, he needed some tape to work off of. Mike Tomlin, I think we know what he's about. Arthur Smith, their offensive coordinator, coming up this week. I've seen what he has done to the Falcons over the last few years. So, by the way, good for you if you had the Steelers kicker in fantasy. He scored 26 points. Just throwing that out there. They can get in field goal range, but that's about it. So if we can just avoid that, that'd be great. Anyways, off topic there a little bit.
I like it.
Rookie quarterbacks suck early. That's my final thought.
Love it. Wagner, yeah. Sean Payton signed off on this, so you need answers. I need answers, and we'll get answers every single Sunday. Well, every game day, we'll get a little bit more of the piece to the pieces to the puzzle, and by the end of the season, we'll have an idea of this is a guy we're going to stick with or not. So, I wish I had them all for you, man. I would tell you myself, but I'm waiting there. I'm getting the same information you are in real time.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, Steelers coming up next. We're going to kind of share the last few thoughts on the Seahawks game tomorrow to start the show. But then it's week 2, time to move on. What happened. Let's learn from what we can and go out there and do better. That's all we can ask from these guys.
It could be worse. We could be the Bengals, who are supposed to be a playoff team, and they just lost to the Patriots, who are supposed to be vying for that number 1 draft pick. So, or we could be the Panthers, who just got demolished with their, franchise quarterback and Bryce Young. So,
right. Well, again, let's just week 1 for lots of teams,
right? Most of them, I would say.
Most of them, if not all. Look, I'm still a Broncos fan. I'm going to be here no matter what. Even if we do only go 2-15, we will still be here doing this show. Year 9 here for us here at Bourbon Broncos No B.S. Glad you all are tuning in and listening. We do this for you guys. Otherwise, John would just have to listen to me talk about the Broncos all the time, and he would get sick of that pretty quickly. So, John, I appreciate you, good sir.
I appreciate you, kid. Thank you for having me on. As always, excited to do this with you next week and for the rest of the season for sure.
Yes, sir. Now we will be back every Monday night post-game podcast. Look out for tomorrow night's show and then the pregame podcast later on in the week as well. Guys, football is back. Broncos are playing, hoping to get that first win under our belt. Let's get ready for it. John, sir, I have nothing left to say other than end this as we always do on a very strong Go Broncos. Take care, guys.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do feeling ghost if it's right, and I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know I'm a pro.